So the next thing I'll be making is a protein pizza. One of my favorite foods is pizza, and I wanted to find a way to make it healthier, so I looked online and I found a recipe by a guy named Exercise for Cheat Meals on YouTube. I bought some of the ingredients and I decided to make it myself, and it's become a staple of my diet recently. This recipe all starts with the crust, and what I'll be using is about 500 grams of all-purpose flour, and then I'll also be using 100 grams of something called vital wheat gluten, which I found on Amazon. This is a 4-pound bag for about $25, and the macros are very similar to protein powder. It's 120 calories per serving with 24 grams of protein. And we'll be using the vital wheat gluten in the crust to add protein to the crust where it's not typically found in a normal pizza. Add in a bowl 500 grams of all-purpose flour. Next, add 100 grams of vital wheat gluten. Then add 10 grams of salt. Lastly, we'll add 5 grams of yeast. And I'm using Quick Rise instant yeast. And then I'll just mix all the dry ingredients together. All right, next you can add in 440 grams of water to the dry mix, and then mix it all together. Okay. Once it starts to look like that and it's not mixing anymore, you want to wet your hand completely and then mix it all together until it can form a dough ball. And you'll let that sit for about 15 minutes. All right. I got my dough ball. Now I'm just going to cover this and let it sit for about 15 minutes in order for it to rise. And as the dough sits, you can start preparing the sauce. And what I'll be using is Cento crushed tomatoes for it. I'm adding 2 grams of garlic powder. Okay, then we'll add 6 grams of salt and mix it up. If you have other seasonings you want to add to it, like Italian seasoning or anything else, you can do that however you prefer. And then I'm going to put this sauce in a high-sided container that I also bought off of Amazon. And that should keep it stored in the fridge for, a couple weeks, at least as long as I need it. I typically only let these pizza doughs sit in the fridge for about a week. Once that's all mixed, you can then just dump it in the high-sided container. After the dough ball has sit for about 15 minutes, you can stretch and fold it 4 times and then roll it into a ball. So stretch it out as far as you can. Fold it over. That's one corner. Stretch it out as far as you can in another corner. 2. 3. And then one more. And then you can mold it into a ball after you've stretched and folded it 4 times. Why do it 4 times? I don't know. The guy in the video just told me to. Now I'll just be placing it on a clean countertop, and I'll roll it into a ball. After doing this a few times, you'll get the hang of it. And then you're gonna divide this ball into about 5 200-gram chunks, 200 to 210 gram chunks. Next, with your 5 high-sided containers, you're gonna spray with non-stick spray the edges so the dough doesn't stick to it when you want to use it. Now you're going to take each dough, flatten it out, and then you fold the edges in 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to roll it into a ball like this. That one's done. You can put it in one of the high-sided containers. Flatten out the next one. This isn't rocket science. It's not brain surgery. Just get the edges folded and roll it into a ball. After that, you have 5 pizza doughs to use in the future. So what you can do is you can store them in the fridge for up to a week, and when you're ready to use them, you have to let them preferably sit out for about 2 hours, just to let them rise. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put 4 of these in the fridge, and then I'm gonna use 1 of these later tonight to prepare, and I'll show you how I prepare it. So what you use is the sauce and the cheese and whatever toppings you want. And for the cheese, you can either shred your own like I'm gonna do here, or you can just buy shredded cheese, whichever you prefer. All right, so it's been a couple hours since I let the dough rise. I went to the gym just to let the time pass, and that's what it looks like when it's ready. So what I'm gonna do, take the top off the container. I'm gonna spray my hands with non-stick spray because what I'm doing is I'm putting the dough on this skillet that can go in the oven. You can use a pizza pan if you want. Doesn't really matter as long as it's oven safe. Put some of the non-stick spray on my hands. And then get the dough on the skillet. And then from there you just have to mold it to the edge of the pan to whatever shape you want. I'm going for a circle. Be patient with this one because it may take you a couple minutes before you get the desired, circumference of the crust. I used the non-stick spray so the dough wouldn't stick to my hands, and it's doing a pretty good job. It's almost the width I wanted at. In the meantime, I have the oven preheating at 425 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, that looks good to me. All right, so I'll put the sauce on next. And you can put as much sauce on as you'd like. This is about 1 serving's worth, so that's 60 grams. I don't like too much sauce on mine personally, but everyone's different. Next, I'll layer on the cheese, and I like enough cheese just to cover up all the sauce. You can put whatever toppings you'd like on this. If I would have bought any like turkey pepperoni or chicken, I would have put that on it as well, but today I'm just going with the cheese. Here's what the pizza looks like after it's all been assembled. Now I'm just gonna put it in the oven at 425 degrees Fahrenheit for about 12 to 15 minutes, depending on what your preferences are. Here's how the pizza looks once I took it out of the oven. I like mine medium well, so I like a little brown on the top. And I'd recommend getting some lean source of protein that you can put on the top. Turkey pepperoni is a good option, chicken, whatever you like and whatever you can find. But I put in about 60 grams of mozzarella cheese, 60 grams of the pizza sauce, and I'll put the macros on the screen here. I highly recommend this. This pizza is excellent, and you can get creative with it, make some modifications yourself. But yeah, give this one a try and let me know what you think.